Mr. Amor Kool, Chief Sustainability Officer, Welspun Enterprises, thank you so much for speaking to Polymerupdate. Let's start talking about sustainability, the buzzword here. How do you believe sustainable infrastructure projects can benefit communities and the environment?
Well, they are already benefiting in a lot of ways. I mean, if you imagine the roads, they are connecting people all throughout. And right now, the government of India's initiatives and their whole ideology is to really expand this whole infrastructure, roads, and water distribution projects in terms of connecting the communities and connecting at the last mile at the place where people are where the electricity or the approach have not been reached yet. So just imagine this, that a few years back you would have traveled in Delhi, and if you travel from Sarai Kali Khan to towards Delhi and Ghazipur or towards Noida, it's a mess. It used to take 3 hours, and I still remember it used to take once I got stuck in that jam in front of Akshardham for almost 2.5 hours. So, but today, if you drive on that road, you'll cross that road in less than 10 minutes. And that's a saving. So you have to really understand that these roads, these infrastructures are actually not only connecting the community, but they are also reducing the carbon emissions. Instead of standing in that long queue of jams and burning your fuel all the time in an environment which is completely hostile, it's warm and humid, and whenever it rains or if it is 45-degree temperatures, you are just stuck in that particular car and you are just there. Uh, your travel time is reduced dramatically, and this is happening not only in that stretch, because see, we have done that stretch as a Welspun Enterprises, and we are very proud of it. Not only in terms of that stretch connecting people, but also we have installed 1 megawatt of solar power there.
Oh,
So
how
we are
lovely.
generating electricity from road.
That's incredible.
So, uh, so that's the power of infrastructure. I've just quoted this a small example because this is near to in a place that you can visit, or probably you will visit or you would have visited that
In fact,
road
yeah.
pretty frequently, and but that is happening all across India, and we are very proudly involved with some of the very prestigious projects all across, be it creating this huge infrastructure bridge over Ganga River in Bihar, connecting north to south Bihar. Right now, if you want to go from Patna to Begusara, it's a round tour for more than 150-160 kilometers, just because there is no bridge for 2 kilometers. So we will be completing that project very soon. Similarly, there are other projects which are actually making a lot of difference, and these differences, these inputs, um, are necessary for the connectivity of the people, for the connectivity in not only in terms of communities, but to the logistics, to the development, and of course, sustainability goes with it.
Let's also talk about your experience in establishing benchmarking and implementation strategies for roads, water distribution networks, and wastewater treatment facilities, if you may please.
Well, that's a difficult one because
We'll break it into parts.
sure, sure. See, the first of all, you have to understand that construction itself is a very dynamic and very complex process. You have to really understand. If, even you can still control the buildings because it is vertical, and you have a set boundary limits, and where you can control a lot of things. You can control labor, you can control resources, you can control material procurement. But just imagine a road which is like 150, 200 kilometers just in a stretch. You don't have any control there. It's just wide open. And putting up a benchmark is a challenge in itself. I don't know. I mean, we are still right now working on many aspects of this understanding, um, collecting data, and data is also very hard to come by, especially in a construction scenario where our contracts have been laid out from contract one contractor to other contract to other contractor. There are levels of contracts which have been placed out in construction industry, so you have to gather that data and to estimate that where you are. You don't have a benchmark in terms of how much fuel you have consumed in terms of per kilometer, or from that perspective. Uh, we are still working on few of the ideas, and rather we have worked on few of the ideas, and uh, we are creating these scenario analysis to understand that where do we land up eventually, and how can we generalize or standardize this whole process of construction on roads. When we come to water distribution, now water distribution is itself is a big area to be understood. Um, we are right now working with Jal Jeevan Mission. It's a Prime Minister's one of the initiatives in UP. There we have almost 2,500 villages to take care of in just 3 districts.
Okay. Okay.
It's wide. Again, the question goes back: how do you standardize such complex nature of uh, operations? So we are trying to identify that where are what are the risks involved, what are the opportunities, what are the consumptions, and how can we generalize them, standardize them in terms of material, in terms of labor, in terms of consumptions. We have done some benchmarking there, and we have come up with some ideas, and we are going back and forth with those ideas and understanding that how can we succeed in those part. In terms of wastewater, it's a whole new horizon for me also. It's a new thing, especially in India, with such huge capacity that we are working. So just imagine we are catering to a huge city, the city's waste to be dealt with. We always have, you can always understand and calculate how much you have gathered and how much you have, generating and consuming. But that is post when you create that asset. How do you do and how do you identify when you are creating those assets? Because right now we have to divert the blinds, we are diverting the whole system to a different place, and it requires a huge operation. And these kinds of operation we are still working on, um, identifying issues, the small issues. So we are moving on small steps, that we will target these, and we will end up with a overall idea of benchmarking on that.
Let's also talk about sustainability. How do you see the infrastructure sector evolving in terms of sustainability in the future?
Um, so I really hope that sustainability in infrastructure grows. Right now, it is at a very rudimentary stages, especially in infrastructure construction. We are some of the probably leaders, and done a lot of things, including, as I've told you, we have installed uh, solar power, and it's an idea that just clicked our minds, and we have taken up plastic roads. It's one of the initiative that is being driven by the government of India. Uh, we are also moving towards how to reduce the fossil fuel from our operations, because that is one of the huge contributions in infrastructure. And when you cast these roads and develop these assets. So we are working on those lines, and I see in future that we will be able to really transform and create ecosystems which are sustainable, and which help develop the entire asset in terms of that.
Thank you so much for speaking with us. And thank you for watching us. We have much more for you from today's Race 7 conference. For more stories on plastics and petrochemicals, stay tuned to Polymer Update.